Okay, so one more disease which I forgot to mention in my previous lecture is diabetes. One of the very important, I don't know why did I forget that. In diabetes, the neutrophilic function also suffers. Have you heard, I think as a doctor or as a student, you must have observed, heard, or from family members, friends, that the people who have diabetes, normally they are more prone to develop infections. Why is that? So that also is a reason, something which is attached to the neutrophils. So there are multiple reasons why and how diabetes increases the chances for infections or reduces the function of the neutrophil. So the first thing is this. Number one, diabetes causes reduced glucose inside the reduced insulin reduces glucose inside the neutrophil, which then causes reduced cellular function. Neutrophil is a very important cell. It is doing a lot of things. It has its own burner to work with. It needs energy. Although it has its own little glycogen as well, it can work in anaerobic situations, but it still needs energy. That energy, that oxygen when not present, the glucose when not present, reduces the neutrophil's capacities or capabilities in general. The second thing is the diabetic ketoacidosis or the acidotic environment also reduces the capability of neutrophil. Then what happens is there are multiple reasons that how neutrophil reduces function. Number one, it cannot properly perform the transmigration. So accumulation of the neutrophil into the tissue where it is needed is reduced. That is one. Secondly, the neutrophil's capacity to form the phagosomes is also reduced. So when there is less glucose inside, neutrophil cannot perform phagocytosis very correctly. That is the second reason. Thirdly, this action of actually creating the active oxygen species, remember it is NADPH oxidase, which is a hexose monophosphate shunt, which is something to do with the glucose, right? So that is affected, and so reactive oxygen species productions are affected. All of those actions, when collected together, simply means less neutrophil reach the area of infection, and then neutrophil has less control over the infection. And guess what? Because the neutrophil is going to look like aged, remember that CD31 and macrophage in our previous lectures? That interaction is going to enhance. And this poor neutrophil is going to be killed even before it has done much. Why? Because macrophage is going to say, hey, how are you doing? And neutrophil doesn't have enough capacity or capability to say, hey, I'm doing okay. When it doesn't say I'm doing okay, it dies. So this is an active area of research. There are so many scientists right now trying to figure out how these neutrophils become less active, but these are bigger concepts for diabetes infections. Thank you.